Yo, what up, everyone? Welcome back to the Dubs Only podcast. It's your host, Jesse, right here. We're going to break down some divisional round matchups that we got going on, which are going to be the Bills taking on the Broncos. That's a rematch of last year's wild card matchup. We also got an NFC West showdown between the Niners and the Seahawks. Round 3 between these two after splitting the regular season series. We got the Texans, the red hot Texans, taking on the young gun New England Patriots, who are coming off a win over the Los Angeles Chargers. And to wrap things up, you have the battle of the offenses, new school versus old school, with the Rams taking on the Bears. We're going to get some reactions from John Harbaugh getting hired, the first coach hired in this coaching cycle by the New York Giants. We're going to break that in. We're going to break that down. We're going to see just what I think about that and how I see the Giants are going to go forward. So with all that being said, let's just get right into it.
Driving down the 110, going 110. Like I started now, never from the bullpen. Call him Hirsch, never wish the worst. They come back around, chicken karma is a curse.
Alright, so the first thing that we got going on here, we're going to start with the divisional round. And we got the Bills taking on the Broncos in Denver. Now this game, it's a rematch between last year's postseason matchup between the two, where the Broncos were taking on the Bills in the wild card matchup, in a wild card round. The Bills really handled the Broncos fairly easily, beating them 31-7. And coming into this game, the Broncos, they had a week of rest thanks to that bye, winning the number 1 seed. They you have Bo Nix, you have the receiving core as well, you have their defense as well, who's been red hot to play the whole season. You have Sean Payton, another year of Sean Payton with Bo Nix, understanding the system, especially playing against this current Bills team, who is facing the injury bug, as you could see if you saw during reports that they have 2 receivers who tore their ACLs this past week in last week's game. I can't remember. One of them was Shevers. I can't remember what the other one name is. But also Josh Allen has been dealing with a hand injury as well when he jammed his hand throwing the ball last game against the Jaguars. But let's go ahead and dive in from the Bills' perspective first. Then we'll go into the Broncos, and then I'll give you my prediction. So starting off with the Bills, I think just come into this game, they are a little banged up. They are pretty hurt on the offensive side. You have, like I mentioned, Josh Allen with the hand injury. You had the 2 receivers going down for the season with torn ACLs. It's just going to be, I think, a little difficult, especially coming off that hard-nosed, tough, gritty win over the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the one thing that I did see from Josh Allen in this game, even though after the hand injury, he was able to still play and play at a very high level, which I do expect him to continue here in Denver. But my thing is going to be just who's going to help him? Who's going to be there to give the second punch for Josh Allen? Is it going to be James Cook? Is it going to be Brandon Cooks? Is it going to be the tight end combo of Dawson Knox and Dalton Kincaid? Who is it going to be? Because we're going to need someone else to step up for the Bills here. It can't be just Josh Allen by himself, just running the ball or making miraculous throws here and there. But someone is going to have to be that consistent threat for Josh Allen on the offensive end to keep the defense more honest with themselves. Because the one thing that this Denver Broncos defense loves to do is they love to rush the passer. They have Nick Bonito, you have Zach Allen, you have Singleton, you have and not to mention they also have a good secondary with the reigning defensive player of the year with Patrick Surtain Jr. or the second. And so for me, it's just I just want to see who's gonna be the second person to step up for the Bills. I honestly think that with this type of game going forward, it's coming off a physical matchup and the result that they saw, I think that they're going to be a run-heavy team going into this week just because I think that James Cook is going to be able to do what he does best, which is run the football between the lines, especially if you have him near the goal line. Those are automatic touchdowns for James Cook that we've seen the last couple of years. I believe that Josh Allen is also going to show his grit. He's going to will his be able to will his offense here. I think that being able to secure that win from last year is going to play a little bit in the heads of both teams. Starting with the Bills side, showing that, hey, we were here we played against this team last season. Although this is a different team in the sense of personnel, you still have majority of the core players that remain there from last year's matchup. So I believe that with that in the back of their heads, the Bills do have that edge or that confidence in themselves coming into this matchup. I think that Josh Allen, knowing what's at stake and understanding that this is pretty much his best chance at achieving a Super Bowl with Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, him being the most experienced quarterback remaining in the AFC, I believe that he understands what he needs to be done in order to get the victory here, and I think that's going to be play a big part in that. Now, transitioning over to to the Broncos side, we're gonna go ahead and dive into the maturity and the growth of Bo Nix. Bo Nix has been had one stellar year this year. He's been able to do it on both dual threat with running the ball, throwing the ball. Although there are moments with the last couple, with the way the ending of this season has gone, the Broncos offense hasn't been rolling or hasn't been as productive as you would like, especially coming from a Sean Payton offense. I just believe that what I think is going to go into this game, I think that Denver, understanding that the last couple of weeks the offense hasn't gone going, I think with the rest that they had, understanding to look at the film, be able to circle their mistakes, see where they went wrong, be able to fix those and make adjustments going forward into this matchup, I believe that I think the offense is going to come out and show out in this week. I believe that Bo Nix is going to have himself a 250, maybe 250, 2 touchdowns. I would say like 50 rushing yards here. I think that he's going to be he's going to target majority of the time. It's going to be I can see Cortland Sutton going off. I can see a bunch of their players going off. I think Bo Nix is going to be able to spread the ball around. And again, just being under another year with Sean Payton in this offense, understanding it. And although the Broncos really haven't they've had very close, tight wins, being able to come out in the last second, I think that this game is going to be the same thing here. But I think they're going to understand that, you know what, we're at home. We have one of the best upcoming quarterbacks. We have one of the best play callers in the game, if not in history, but he is one of the best in the game currently right now. And yeah, you could say history. He has a Super Bowl. So yeah, I think that the Broncos, they're gonna come here and show, hey, we're gonna throw the first punch to you guys. You're coming to Denver, high altitude. You think those fans aren't gonna be hyped for a playoff game? They haven't had one since Peyton Manning was there. So I believe that this is going to be a big crowd game for the Broncos. I think momentum is going to be on their side from the jump. Now it's just going to be, are they going to be able to capture it and keep that momentum for the rest of the game? Because as we saw last week with the Bills and the Jaguars had momentum going into that game, and the Bills were able to just be right there. If the Bills, I believe that if the Bills are able to stay within reach throughout the whole game, then this is going to spell trouble for Denver. I think that Denver, if they really want to win this game, it has to be a margin of victory. I think that just because if things get close, I can see them crumbling just because of how young they are and them not having too much playoff experience. Sean Payton has playoff experience, but the team as a whole does not have a whole lot of playoff experience. So I think if the Bills are able to keep it to a one-score game or to stay within reach, this is going to spell trouble for Denver. And with all that being said, my prediction here for this game is going to be the Bills coming out on top, making it to the AFC Championship yet again, beating the Denver Broncos. We're going to go 20-13. Book it. All right, next up is going to be this NFC West showdown, round 3 between the Niners and the Seahawks. Now, let's go ahead and break down the matchups earlier in the season, how they went. And they had two different teams. They played each other week 1 where the Niners won 17-13. And then they didn't play each other again until the last game of the regular season where the Niners lost 13-3. Offense couldn't get going. You had the red hot Seahawks battling for that number 1 seed, and it was for both teams. They're going for the division, and so let's go ahead and break down what I see going forward from the Seahawks perspective. Now, Sam Darnold, this is his second straight year winning the number one seed, 14 wins. And the way it went down last year, it didn't go so well for him. They lost. And I think that him understanding what the situation a second time around, I think that I believe that Sam Darnold and company, they're going to be able to show they're willing to this one. Yeah, the Niners are coming off a huge victory over the Philadelphia Eagles, the dysfunctional Philadelphia Eagles. But I think that the way that Seattle is compared to you can't they're the way that Seattle is and the Eagle and Philadelphia were, it's night and day. You don't have no dysfunctionality between coaches and players or the play callers. You have everyone on the same page. That's why they have 14 wins. You have Sam Darnold, who's playing out of his mind yet again, playing smart football, taking his shots, being able to make the plays when it's needed. You have a serious number one threat in Jackson Smith and Jigba. You have the two-headed monster at running back with Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet. You have a defense right there with the Seattle Seahawks who are able to play mean, rough, hard-nosed football, just right like old school type football. And then when you look at the Niners side, you have Brock Purdy, George Kittle out for the rest of the season. Thankfully, they had Demarcus Robinson show out last game, but are we going to see that yet again coming into this matchup? Of course, you have Christian McCaffrey, the Swiss Army knife, who's able to do it all: receive, run. He can throw the ball if they ask him to. Another player who they have who can throw the ball, you have Juwan Jennings. Man, that's another weapon right there. But I just think that the injuries on defense, although that this defense is not the best, most talented, they do play for each other. They do play for it as a team. They have been able to get the stops when needed. But I think just going up against a division rival, although majority of the way that those games can go either way, I believe that injuries are going to catch up to the San Francisco 49ers, being that the Seahawks, they're coming in relatively healthy. They're coming into a very dangerous environment with the home crowd, the 12th man. You think they're not going to be hyped up rooting on for the Seahawks? So I just believe that the lack of weapons right there on the offensive end for the Niners is going to play a big part of that. I think that the lack of defensive stars is finally going to catch up to the Niners. I believe that Jackson Smith and Jigba is going to have his way here in this game. I think that Seattle's going to be running the ball as well right up front in their face. I think that's just going to be a physical, hard game that Seattle's going to put on to the 49ers, and I think that's going to be way too much for them. So my final score prediction in this one is going to be 24-10 Seahawks. Now let's go ahead and flip to Sunday's matchup, and this is going to be the Houston Texans taking on the New England Patriots. Now the New England Patriots are coming off a victory over the Los Angeles Chargers last Sunday night. They had some struggles on the offensive end from the Chargers defense who gave them trouble. And going into this one, they're playing against the hottest team in the NFL, especially on the defensive side. You have the Houston Texans who have everything on defense that's just been going right for them. So what do I see going into this game? I think that Houston's defense is going to continue to play their same hard-nosed football. They're bringing to you football, physical. They're going to have a chokehold on you throughout the entire night. And that's just how they've been playing to end the regular season, how they were last week this Monday against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were just too much. And just seeing what transpired last Sunday night with the Chargers defense and what they were able to do to Drake May, Josh McDaniels, and be able to cause turnovers, get sacks, be able to keep that to a 16 points at the end of the game. I think that this Texans defense is just on another level compared to that Chargers defense. I think that they're going to rush the passer even more. They're not going to give Drake May that much time. And even if they do give Drake May time, that secondary is second to none. You have Derek Stingley. You have the other corner on the other side who's also a baller. The two safeties are there. You have the linebacker Shakir. You have Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter, one of the best, if not the best, edge duo in the league. So I just think with what's going on with that Texans defense and the way that the Patriots offense wasn't really able to get going last week against the Chargers, I just think that the Texans defense is gonna do its thing. But if we flip sides now to the Patriots defense going against the Houston offense, CJ Stroud, yes, he won the game last week, but it wasn't in a pretty fashion. That defense really is the one that stepped up and was able to not let the Steelers be able to threaten them at all. So I believe that CJ was freer playing that game, even though he had a couple turnovers. I just don't see that going on this week, just because with the way that we still don't know if they're gonna have Nico Collins, which is a big piece. Yeah, we saw Christian Kirk ball out last week, but when you have an all-pro Pro Bowler and Christian Gonzalez that they have, then that's going to take away Christian Kirk. And who's going to be the next one to step up? Is it going to be Dalton Schultz? Is it going to be some of the other receivers that they have? Willie Marks, is he going to do something? Nick Chubb, is he going to run the ball? What's going to happen with this offense? I just want to see who's going to be the next man up to step up if you have Christian Kirk. If Christian Kirk is going to be your number one receiver. And if he is taken away by Christian Gonzalez, yeah, who's going to be the one to step up? I think that with all that being said going forward, I just think the Texans defense is just going to be too stifling for the Patriots. I think that if the Houston offense is able to get at least one score or just be able to have a lead and maintain it because of the defense, they're going to win this game pretty handily. So I got the Texans beating the Patriots in New England. We're going to go, I think it's going to be a close game. I think 17-10. I got 17-10 going into this game. And to wrap things up, it's going to be the Rams taking on the Bears in Chicago at Soldier Field. Now, when I think of this game, the first thing that comes to my mind is going to be the battle of offensive geniuses. You have the known, proven winner, Super Bowl champion, Sean McVay, who has revolutionized offenses all around the NFL. With his offense, his knowledge, be able to scheme, remember plays, all that good stuff. And then you have Ben Johnson, the up and coming coach, who has a good chance to be coach of the year this year. You have Ben Johnson, who's also been able to just bring up a Bears offense that was lacking the last couple seasons, or just it's been lacking for a long time, actually. So what do I see in this game? I see a veteran team coming into Chicago, a young Chicago team who's really confident after beating a division rival in the playoffs. And I think that this veteran team who understands how to win games, understands different situations, what to do, and just understanding situations, I think that's what we have coming up. I think that from the Bears' perspective, as I mentioned, they're very confident. They're coming off a big win last week, beating a division rival, and not just winning the game, but in the manner of how they won it, being down 21-3, still playing hard-nosed football, keeping their head down and just going to work, making a spectacular comeback, needing their best when their best is needed. This Bears team coming into this week has all the right to be confident. These fans have all the right to be confident. They're coming back and playing again in front of the Chicago faithful. But, as I mentioned, who are they going up against? They're going up against an MVP candidate. They're going up against a future Hall of Famer in Devontae Adams. You're going up against probably the Offensive Player of the Year in Puka Nacua. You have a tough, hard-nosed running game with Kyron Williams and Blake Corum. You have the tight ends with Higbee. You have the other two tight ends along with them. You have a hard-nosed defense with the Rams. You have Jared Verge. You have Poona Ford. You have the secondary as well, linebackers. You have a whole bunch of players on this Rams team that have been there in previous seasons and have proven that they understand how to win games. And I think that's going to play all the difference into this matchup, because the one thing that I learned from just life in general, experience is the best teacher, and the Rams have a whole bunch of that. Now, this Bears team, they have some experience. Yeah, they won last week, but they don't. I don't believe that they have the situational experience to on what to do in any type of situation and scenario like the Los Angeles Rams do, like a Matthew Stafford does, like a Sean McVay does. So I believe that with all that being said, I think the Rams just they're going to be able to win this game. I'm not going to say it's going to be a blowout. I think that Caleb Williams and company, I think they're going to have some. They're going to be able to do what they want in certain aspects of the game. I think that Ben Johnson is going to call up some plays that are going to be deep down the field, explosive plays, and get the offense going. I think that the Bears defense is also going to come up big and get some stops when needed. We saw that last week, what they were able to do against Jordan Love and company. When, like I said, they had their best when their best was needed. And just playing in front of that home crowd, I think that's going to play a big factor into how this game ends up. But in the end, I do believe that the Rams are going to win this game. I think that it's going to be a very close game. And my final score prediction in this one is going to be the Rams taking home the victory 27-24 over the Chicago Bears. All right, guys, now we're going to wrap things up with the hiring of John Harbaugh going to the New York Giants. Now, what are my first thoughts about this? My first original thoughts are they got a great coach. That young team right there, they've got a great coach. It's hard to come by with Super Bowl champion coaches, coaches who have had MVPs on their teams, coaches who have been to the playoff numerous amount of times, understand different situations, who has been in multiple classic hard nose. I'm saying hard nose like so many times, but just tough games. Understand different situations. They have a proven winner. That's my original thoughts right there. And when you have a core on the offensive side like Jackson Dart, Malik Neighbors, Cam Scatterbull, you need a coach that understands situations and knows how to build a team. And that's exactly what John Harbaugh has been able to do during his tenure with the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, you saw what he was able to do when he had Joe Flacco on his roster, been able to make him into a Super Bowl MVP. You have that who didn't understand defenses more than John Harbaugh, who had arguably the best linebacker in the game in history, and then you also had the best safety in history. Not to mention a stud like Terrell Suggs as well. You have a whole bunch of experience that John Harbaugh is going to bring to the New York Giants. And the one thing that I think that's going to be with the Giants is that they understand what they have. I believe that if you were to have a young up and coming coach who hasn't had a proven track record, and he was growing with the team as well, I don't know if that would translate going to the future. But having a winner such as John Harbaugh, a proven champion, a proven leader, someone who's just able to bring the best out of his team, I think that's what a young team needs. They need that guidance. They need that leader. They need someone to show them properly on how to do things. Now, you have veterans in the locker room as well who are going to do that, but it's different when you have the veterans who show you, and then you have the captain up top as the head coach showing and demanding excellence from his players. So I believe that with that being said, going forward for the New York Giants, I think they got their right guy. They're going to be able to finally make something of themselves, finally make a name for themselves, hopefully compete in a stacked NFC East. Because if you look at it, you have the Philadelphia Eagles who have won their second straight NFC East title. You have the Dallas Cowboys who had one of the great offenses this season, had a terrible defense, but their offense was there. You had the Washington Commanders with Jaden Daniels coming back. You have a loaded NFC East division. So it's just you got to fight fire with fire, and I think that's exactly what the New York Giants did by bringing in John Harbaugh. And I just believe that he's going to be that pillar that they're going to need going forward. And I honestly think that this is going to be something good for New York. What do I see going forward to them? I think maybe sometime in the future they can become a playoff team. But as of right now, I think right now they're just going to be building and trying to build a culture for that organization. Because once they build that culture and understand what type of identity they want to be, then the sky is the limit for them. Because they have two hard-nosed players in Scatterboo and Jackson Dart. So that's why I'm thinking. So those are my thoughts and the reactions of John Harbaugh signing with the New York Giants. Well, all right, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for more content for next week. We're gonna get into it on my reviews or my reactions from the divisional games. What do we see going forward? What I thought of that game, and just whatever breaking news that we have going on this weekend. So stay tuned. Thank you guys for watching. Appreciate you guys. Continue to support. And you know what? Dubs only. Peace.
Driving down the 110, going 110. Like I started now, never from the bullpen. Call up Hirsch, never wish the worst. It come back around, chicken karma is a curse.